You ever met someone so suspiciously generous that you start wondering whether they're Santa Claus or Satan in disguise? Well, let me tell you a story. It's got everything: poverty, manipulation, adultery, drugs, a guy named Mystique Mysterious, and yes, orgies. Buckle up. Once upon a time in Nima, a real neighborhood in Accra, Ghana, where poverty isn't fiction and dreams have dust on them, 3 friends lived: Kojo Ansa, Kofi and team, and Gabrielle Bukari. These weren't your Instagram influencer types. These were real people with real struggles. And among them, Bukari was having it rough. He'd been jobless for 8 whole months, long enough to start greeting hunger like an old friend.
That's how you greet an old friend.
Then comes Mystique Mysterious. Yes, that's the man's actual name. If that sounds like a magician turned cult leader, you're not far off. He shows up all smiles and silk shirts, pretending to be a savior. He offers Bukari a job driving a taxi. Sounds noble, right? But here's the twist. The taxi isn't even his. It's his friend's, and Bukari has to pay Mystique Mysterious a percentage of his salary for the privilege. That's like renting your own shoelaces. Still, desperation is persuasive. Bukari takes the offer. Before long, Mystique Mysterious becomes more than just a boss. He becomes a nightlife tour guide. Suddenly, Bukari is chugging alcohol, dancing through adultery, and attending activities that would make your church elders faint. All while poor Fati, Bukari's wife, who, by the way, he married when she was barely out of childhood, is left alone at home, coping in silence. Now, if you think Mystique is content with just one puppet, think again. He convinces Bukari's teenage son, Baba, to start selling newspapers, just to impress his girlfriend, Adukwe. Of course, he skims a percentage of the boy's commission too. And Baba, blissfully unaware. Mystique also tries to rope in Kofi and team, but Kofi, the smart one, negotiates his percentage down. The only one Mystique couldn't sink his claws into was Kojo Ansa, the quiet man. So quiet, in fact, Mystique was terrified of him. And you know what? That's a red flag. If a manipulative con man is scared of you just because you mind your business, you're probably made of stronger stuff.
My beef.
But our dear Mystique wasn't just an economic parasite. No, he was also a full-time drug lord and part-time evangelist of addiction. He handed out weed and cocaine to the youth, free at first. Classic move. Once they were hooked, he started selling it to them. If this were an MLM, he'd be diamond level. Things spiral. Baba breaks up with Adukwe when he gets dazzled by Janet, his dad's boss's daughter. Rich girl energy. Meanwhile, Mystique starts lusting after Fati, yes, Bukari's wife. That twisted crush becomes the match that lights a firestorm of events. Arrests, detentions, murders, capital punishment. Yes, this escalated faster than a WhatsApp group chat before a wedding.
You're cute.
That was a lot scarier a second ago.
Eventually, when society had to choose sides, guess who they supported? Mystique Mysterious. Why? Because poverty makes people choose with their stomachs. And in that moment, morals were a luxury no one could afford. Now, if you're wondering what sort of fever dream this is, let me officially reveal the book, Benjamin Kwakye's The Clothes of Nakedness. First published in 1998 as part of the Heinemann African Writers Series, and winner of the 1999 Commonwealth Writers' Prize for Best First Book, Africa Region. The title comes from a Ghanaian proverb: if nakedness promises you clothes, listen to its name. It's a warning that those who have nothing cannot give you something. A perfect encapsulation of the novel's central irony, as Mystique Mysterious offering salvation actually strips away the characters' dignity, morality, and eventually their lives. This book isn't just a story, it's a mirror held up to society's face, showing how poverty breeds compromise, how manipulative power can mask itself as friendship, and how people become pawns in a game they didn't sign up for. Kwakye doesn't use complicated language. His style is simple, accessible, perfect for younger readers too. But don't mistake that for shallowness. Behind that simple language is a layered, multi-dimensional story. It's not just Bukari's downfall, it's about the rich-poor dynamic, love in the slums, youth being swallowed by the streets, and a community slowly losing its moral center. One thing I found slightly off was the conversation between Fati and her son Baba. When Fati gets excited about her 16-year-old son's romance, it felt a bit un-Ghanaian. I mean, most African parents would be shouting, not smiling. Still, this was an incredible debut. No wonder it was adapted for BBC Radio and earned Kwakye accolades. If you're a fan of books that reflect society's underbelly, books that challenge and disturb and make you think, The Clothes of Nakedness is a must-read.
Let the challenge begin.
Benjamin Kwakye was born in Accra and attended Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Presec Dartmouth College, and Harvard Law School. He wrote and published poetry while in college, served as editor of Spirit, Dartmouth College's African American Society's literary journal, and received the Society's 1990 Senior Honor Roll for outstanding leadership, distinguished service, and intellectual and artistic creativity. His first novel, The Clothes of Nakedness, was published in 1998 by Heinemann as part of its African Writers series. It won the 1999 Commonwealth Writers' Prize for Best First Book, Africa Region, and has been adapted for radio as a BBC Play of the Week. After the publication of The Clothes of Nakedness, he became resident novelist of Window to Africa Radio and Afroscope Radio with Cyril Iba. As resident novelist, he reviewed a number of African and African-related titles on the air. So that's it for this week's review. If you're into African literature that mixes gritty realism with symbolic depth, go pick up The Clothes of Nakedness. And if you're wondering whether Mystique Mysterious is still out there, let me just say, according to the last page, he never really goes away.
He heard someone call his name. He stopped and looked behind him and saw the shadowy form of a man outlined against the dusky sky. He looked harder and realized it was Mystique Mysterious. And that Mystique Mysterious was smiling. Then Kofi and team knew that Mystique Mysterious had not gone away. He would never go away. He would always be present in the background, watching and waiting.
Page 212, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and read something raw. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.